Hello, everyone. Welcome to today's episode of Daily Betslip. It is myself. It is Peter Dewey. We're doing a little double header after yesterday's bet and breakfast. We're just 28 hours later. We're back on a little stream, jam-packed show. We are talking tonight's game of the night, which is the Boston Celtics and Milwaukee Bucks game 4, I believe.
Yes, sir.
And as always, for the Daily Bet Slip, we have a poll up on Twitter, and there will be a poll coming up on YouTube. Vote who you think is the best bet for tonight's game, and we will lock in our bets and follow your pick at the very end of the show. What else do we got on the show? We got a little bad beat action, a little NHL bad beat. We got best bets, both myself and you, Peter, and as well as some community picks that were given out on Twitter earlier today. We're going to talk a little NFL MVP. I have a pick that might be the lock of the millennium. Those who know me probably know who I'm going to take, but we're going to get into that, and then we're going to dive a little bit deeper into Celtics Bucks, and then that's going to be the show. And then I'm going to be streaming again right afterwards at 6 o'clock in an hour to talk a little golf action for the AT&T Byron Nelson, along with Cody Williams for Green on the Greens. Peter, how'd your bets go last night?
They were all right. I hit the Luka Doncic under in the his under points, rebounds, assists. Ended up missing the Suns team total because after I told you on Bet and Breakfast, there's no way the Suns turn the ball over 17 times again. They turned the ball over 17 times again. So that one was tough. And then didn't hit my Tyler Hero points prop. But to this morning, the big whale came in, Ian. I hit Nikola Jokic to win the league MVP.
Oh, that's right.
12-1. Been on this since, December was when I bet it. Nikola Jokic MVP. Very excited about that. Thought it was a sure thing giving his value on the floor this year. So very excited that one came through. That really boosted my spirits. So hoping that turns into a hot streak going forward.
You had been on that all year. Did you get worried when the reports came out that Embiid was going to win there a couple days ago?
A little bit. Like, it was all like Sixers Twitter type of people. Like, it was all like Philly fans like, oh, this is going to happen. So I didn't really read too much into it. But I thought the NBA was going to announce it while Jokic was still in the playoffs. So when the Nuggets got eliminated, I got a little bit nervous. They're like, okay, they're not going to do the ceremony in Denver, like with him playing in the playoffs. So that put a little fear into me. But ever since the straw poll from ESPN came out to like the last like week or two of the regular season that had Jokic like way favored, and that's the people who are actually voting on the award, I was like, there's no way, there's nothing Embiid can do at this point to kind of turn things around in the last week of the season. So you look at the numbers, Jokic, advanced numbers, love him. He was the best player by far, value-wise. Embiid scores the ball a lot. He does a lot of great things. Extremely valuable player, but Nikola Jokic meant a lot more to the Nuggets, I think. And you look at any of the on-off numbers, box plus minus, any of that stuff, it shows that.
I watched Jokic live this year when the Nuggets played in Brooklyn against the Nets, and I've never he doesn't have any wasted movements when he moves. It's like every step that he takes is with a purpose, and it's all very smooth, especially for a guy his size. So yeah, well deserved. Shout out Nikola Jokic, second straight MVP, and shout out to you for betting on him pretty early in the season before everyone else was on him. Let's tack a little bad beat of the day. Mine goes back to Saturday night. So Saturday I actually had a almost perfect betting day outside of Kentucky Derby. I'm not even counting that. I didn't know what I was talking about with that. But 5-0 in the UFC, 3-1 in hockey. And my only loss came down to the under between the Stars and the Flames. And this happens in the NHL. If you're new to hockey betting, especially in the playoffs, you're going to see this. The dreaded empty net goal. It's very common heartbreaker or, a celebratory thing, depending on what side of the bet you're on. But this was especially bad because it came down to 1 second left in the game. I was under 5.5 was my bet. Stars were up 3-2. Flames pulled the net with a few minutes left, but the Stars couldn't get down there and score. But then literally with half a second left, they just scored the meaningless empty netter for the total to go up to 6. So I lost on the under 5.5. I'm not going to complain too much, though. Like I said, 5-0 in UFC that day, 3-1 overall in the NHL. So happy day, but I was 1 second away from a perfect 9-0. 9-0?
Man, yeah, 9-0.
4 plus 5, yeah. One second away from a perfect 9-0 sweep on Saturday. So empty nets, man. Just like the meaningless basket in NBA, the empty nets are NHL's version of that.
It's frustrating because, like, in hockey, you can't necessarily, like, dribble the ball out. So, like, you're just kind of like you have to, like, keep playing till. So that's tough because you're on edge until the very last second, which is
and
man.
especially in the playoffs, they seem like they pull their goalie a little bit earlier in playoff games too, as opposed to regular season. So that net's empty for a little bit longer. Ben Heisler, isn't this the second time the Flames got a goal with 1 second left on the clock this year in a bad beat? Yeah, the other time, Flames are involved in both games. The first time it went in the Flames' favor, and actually that time it went in my favor as well. Scored with 0.1 seconds left in one of the llast regular season games of the year. This time they were on the wrong side of it, and also I was on the wrong side of it. So, yes, Flames' bad beat now featured twice in the Daily Betslip over the past few weeks. So, shout out Flames. They're also down 1-2 in the series, which is concerning because I have a lot wagered on them to win the Western Conference.
They just love the spotlight, man. They love being on bad beat of the week.
Also, they generally play in defensive close games, so not many blowouts for the Flames. Let's dive right into best bets here. We are going to start with some Twitter picks. I tweeted out earlier today looking for people's best bets. I said I'd tail a few. Let's dive into a few of them, and then I'm going to get into my picks for the 4 NHL games. And then, Peter, you'll be giving out, I believe, a couple NBA and MLB picks. So let's dive into the Twitter picks here first. Let's bring up the first one. Producer Joanne is going to love this one. Zach Bola, at Zach Bola 1230, is backing her Diamondbacks, as Miami has lost 16 of its previous 21 games against the NL West. And should not be the favorite to win this game. D-backs have been the best money team for sports bettors who have backed them. Is that true? They swept them last week, and with the way they are playing, are worth it. Are they the most profitable team to bet on this year?
I don't know about that, but they're on a run. I know they just got back over 500. They've won like 7 of their last 10 or 8 of their last 10. They've probably been a dog in most of those games. So that possibly, I'd have to look that up if that number is exactly right. But they actually have been playing some good baseball. I moved them inside the top 20 in our power rankings today.
Oh,
BetSided. So they're like at 19 or something like that.
Oh,
yeah.
They're as a team batting below 500 on there, batting below 200 on the season. Their batting average is 193. So
it's not great. No, it's not great. They're pitching well. They're pitching well. So
I don't know if I can get behind that play. My friend Zach Bola. I actually love the Marlins tonight. I haven't put that out as a pick yet, but I do love them. I was on VSiN last night and I gave out that pick. I'm not a big Humberto Castellanos fan either. I saw him play live against the Mets and I didn't like his stuff, but hey, I could be wrong. Best of luck to you, Zach Bola, 1230. And I apologize to Joanne, who for once again ripping on her Diamondbacks because I think they stink. Team batting average 193 is tough.
It is tough.
All right, let's bring up the second Twitter pick here. Jacob Houston at Big Huey, 25. Florida Panthers team total over 3.5 minus 110. I do like this. I'm going to get to my pick on the Panthers here in a little bit. But if you look at season-long stats and how the series should be going, that looks like a fantastic bet against a Washington team that hasn't played good defensively and has goaltender issues. But with how the series has been going, the Capitals have at least shut them down to an extent. I'm going to talk about this game more when I give out my best bets for the NHL tonight. But Peter, do you have any thoughts on that?
I was going to say just 4 goals in a playoff game seems like a lot. I know it's like happened a few times over the last couple of nights, but that does seem like a lot of goals in a playoff game, especially if the Capitals win, it's 2-2, correct?
Yes.
Yes.
No. The Capitals are up 2-2.
Capitals are up 2.
They're up 2-1. They're up 2-1.
So It'll be 2-2.
The Panthers need to win tonight.
Maybe Panthers need to win. I'm not a hockey guy, so I'm not going to tell you. But it seems like a lot of goals to me. But the odds don't seem too bad on it. So clearly, it could happen. It could happen.
The Panthers did average over 4 goals per 60 minutes of play this season. So, for their season average, over 3.5 would be their season average, and you're getting at a coin flip. So,
okay.
I don't hate it. I like my Panthers bet a little bit better that we're going to talk about in a little bit. But, hey, I've seen worse picks on here. So, shout out to you, Big Huey 25. Best of luck. Let's bring up the next pick.
Got number 3.
Cody Wells, the first Bet you runner-up. Shout out Cody Wells. Brewers -1.5 plus 100. Bucks Celtics under 212.5 -108. Peter, I'll let you tackle Bucks Celtics, but first, I know Cody's been tweeting at me quite often about this. He is the captain of the Fade the Reds train, and the Reds are back against the Brewers this week. They played against them last week as well. I believe they got swept, and we all know by now betting Reds opponents on the run line has been extremely profitable this year. They won their series against the Pirates this weekend, but that was the Pirates. So, like, how much can you look into that? I don't know. But yeah, do we get back on the fade the Reds train?
A little tease for my best bets. I'm also fading the Reds in a slightly different way today, but I have a Brewers pick, so I will share that. So love that one from Cody. Celtics Bucks under. Bucks have gone under in every single one of their playoff games so far this year. They have the best defensive rating of any team in the NBA playoffs right now. So I don't hate it. I feel like the Boston offense, especially Jason Tatum, kind of due for a bounce back. Tatum was 4 for 19 last game. This number is low, but based on the way the series has been played, we've seen a lot of games like hovering around like that 200 number, honestly. So the fact that it's 212, I don't hate the under here. The Bucks without Middleton, they want to slow the game down. They want to play, less possession. So two good defenses should be a good game. I don't hate that play at all. Uh-oh, did we lose Iain? He's muted.
Sorry about that. I was typing away. I did not want my mechanical keyboard to come up on the microphone and forgot to unmute myself. Bring up the last one, which I think is a baseball one as well. I think it's an aggressive one. Johnny GB at Johnny GB 412. Dodgers -2.5 should be around plus money if you want the safe odds, the -1.5 or -145. All but one of their wins have covered the -1.5. So your choice of odds there. Yes, that is extra aggressive. But to be fair, they are playing against the Pirates who just lost a series to the Reds. That game starts in a little over an hour as well. A little bit of an earlier start time for a Dodgers game. Dodgers are like the complete opposites of the Reds. The Reds, you take the opposing team on the run line. The Dodgers just take them on the run line. But 2.5, the alternate run line?
It's a lot.
It's a lot in a baseball game.
Yeah, I don't know if I go that far. I think I would just rather take them at the 1.5 because that's been so money this year. Don't push my luck, but
don't get too aggressive. But I mean, they did just win Sunday Night Baseball against the Cubs on the road 7-1 last night. So, but also, is there a little bit of Sunday Night Baseball hangover? They're playing less than 24 hours later. So
that is true.
I agree with you. If I would bet on the Dodgers, I think I'd just eat the juice and take -1.5. -2.5 just seems so aggressive for a baseball play. So there you have it. The 4 community picks that were given out today. My favorite one, the one that I am going to tail is I'll jump on the fade. The Reds train with Cody. How's that? Cody, I'm jumping on Brewers -1.5 at plus 100 with you. I don't want to double up on the Panthers. I don't believe in the D-backs. I'm going to bet somewhere else in Bucks Celtics, and then Dodgers is just too aggressive. So, Cody, I'm backing you. Let's jump on the fade Reds train.
Who was the first one? I forgot who it was, but I might take the D-backs. I might. Joanne's gonna like me for this one. Maybe she'll give me some extra screen time. But I might take the D-backs here. I know Alicia Hernandez, who's pitching for the Marlins, his FIP is over 6 this year. So don't love that. Maybe a bad D-backs offense gets back on track.
And that was Zach Bola who was on that.
Okay, so Zach, I got you. I like that one. I like that one a lot.
All right, now let's dive into our best bets for the night. All 4 of mine are in the NHL. So Peter, why don't I just rattle mine off here pretty quick, and then we'll get to yours, and then yours will probably yours, like I said, little NBA, little MLB. I'll just rattle off my 4 hockey picks for tonight. Let's start with the Panthers and Capitals. Just going to go in chronological order here. Panthers and Capitals. I am on the Panthers -1.5 plus 130. Like I said, in most series so far this NHL season, in the playoffs, I'm just going to kind of trust my pre-series beliefs about how these series will go. I know the Capitals are up 2-1. They've done a decent job shutting down the Panthers, but it's not like the Capitals in the regular season had like a top-tier defense, and especially their goaltending has not been good. Florida still has a Corsi rate of 54.24%, which is the 3rd amongst all playoff teams. And they're also getting 12.33 high danger scoring chances. So they are getting some opportunities. The Capitals have just kind of done a good job defensively. I think the Panthers get back on track tonight, tie the series, and I think they win big like they did in game 2. So I like the plus money there. Panthers minus 1.5, plus 130. Moving on to the Rangers and the Penguins. This is one series that my belief has changed a little bit. I was on the Rangers pre-playoffs. I've now flipped. I think the Penguins are a better team here, and you're getting them as slight underdogs, minus 105 at home tonight in game 4, and they can take a 3-1 series lead. You look at the advanced analytics, and the Penguins are dominating them. 4th highest Corsi percentage in the playoffs so far at 53.42%, and they also lead all playoff teams in high danger scoring chances, averaging 18.85 per 60 minutes. They are dominating the Rangers on the offensive end. So yes, Shesterkin has not looked his best. He got pulled last week or on Saturday in game 3. But to be honest, it's not really his fault. Like, a goalie can only do so much. If your defense is allowing 18.85 high danger scoring chances per 60 minutes, like that's near impossible to be able to like play good enough to win a game. So I don't fully blame Shesterkin, but the Rangers are hanging him out to dry more than they have all season. I like the Penguins as slight underdogs at home tonight to take the 3-1 series lead. Next up, let's go. They both start at 9:30 Eastern, I think. Let's go Avalanche Predators here. Going a little chalky again, just like in the Panthers Capitals series, but Avalanche minus 1.5, plus 100. The Predators' back was broken in game 2 when they lost in overtime. They got just destroyed in both game 1 and game 3. They got destroyed, and the Avalanche are just dominating them when you look at the analytics. A Corsi percentage of 63.77%. They have an expected goals per 60 minutes of 4.58. Like, the Predators are done. Like I said, game 2 was a backbreaker for them. They had to win that game in overtime. They lost it. I know that the Avalanche's starting goalie is out. Darcy Kemper's out tonight. But I don't really think that matters too much. I mean, like I said, when you look at the things like Corsi percentage, like the Predators aren't getting any chances anyways. They only have an expected goals of 2.2 per 60 minutes against them. So I like the Avalanche. I think they run away with it tonight and complete that sweep. And then the final game of the night, the Flames against the Stars. This was the one that had the bad beat on the under 5.5 on Saturday. Going to stay away from the under. I was on the under the first 3 games. This time I'm just going to back the Flames. This is a team that I'm heavily invested in to win the Western Conference. I think they're the best team in the Western Conference. I know they're down 2-1 in the series, but they have been largely dominating the play here. 59.46% is their Corsi percentage. Second best mark in the playoffs next to only the Avalanche. And now when you look at expected goals, they're actually outperforming the Stars. 3.03 expected goals compared to the Stars at 2.51. Stars are getting a really good play from their goaltender, Jake Oettinger, who has a save percentage of 969. Now, he did have a good regular season, but it was still only a save percentage of 914. So I think we're going to see a little bit of regression from Oettinger. I think the Flames are just, I hate using the word due, but like they've been getting too many offensive scoring chances, did not put the puck in the net a few times. I think they win tonight. I wasn't aggressive enough to take them on the puck line as I was in some of the other games, but I think they're going to win outright. So Flames minus 160 in that one. I don't mind laying the juice. I still think there's a bit of value in that one just because I do think they are truly much better than the Stars. So just to recap my 4 NHL picks, Panthers minus 1.5, Penguins minus 105, Flames minus 160, Avalanche minus 1.5 at even money. So there you go. My quick little rant for my NHL picks tonight. Any thoughts on any of those, Peter?
I'm disappointed that you are not betting on my Rangers tonight. Makes me a little sad. But no.
Are you worried? Are you worried about your Rangers?
I am very, very worried. I watched a little bit of game 3, like I told you. I'm very, very worried. They're just leaving Igor out to dry out there, man. I mean, it was just like freebies in front of the net all of game 3. So yeah, a little worried about that one, but I like your picks. I like I'm interested because I know you weren't too high on the Avalanche to win the West, but they've looked pretty dominant in the first round. So I'm intrigued to see how they go from here. I think it's the Wild or the Blues that they would play in the second round. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So they've looked good. Hopefully Flames get back on track for you, but I like them. I might tail your Avalanche pick for sure.
Yeah. I think Predators' back is broken. I think that series ends tonight. And on top of that, I think they were just the worst team in the playoffs just in general. So especially without UC Saros. So there you go. Those are my NHL picks. Pete, you got, I believe, an MLB and a couple NBA. So hit me up with those.
Yeah, so I'm going to start in the MLB. Like I said, when we were mentioning Cody's pick, I'm fading the Reds today. I'm taking the Brewers team total over 4.5 runs. It's plus
Oh,
110. Um, and this one, Luis Castillo is making a start for the Reds. First start of the season. He started the year on the IL. The Reds have been horrendous, though, man. I don't care if Luis Castillo pitches great. I know he's probably their best pitcher when he's healthy because their bullpen has an ERA of 4.92, which is dead last in the league. They have a team ERA of 6.57, which is dead last in the league. If you look at their last few games, they played the Brewers just before that Pirates series. They gave up 10, 6, and 18 runs in those 3 games. And then they come back. You look at their entire season as a whole, they've allowed 5 or more runs in 18 of 28 games this season. And at the beginning of the year when they played the Braves is when they had a couple of those games they didn't allow 5 runs. So if you go from the first series on, which is where they've really struggled, it's almost hitting a 75% clip of the amount of times they're giving up this many runs. So getting it at plus money, I like it. Not sold on Castillo, like having a lights out performance. Maybe he does and he proves me wrong, but I can't see them just like letting him run in his first start of the year and pitch, 6, 7 innings. So fading the Reds bullpen, fading the Reds in general, they stink. Unserious baseball team for sure. Next one, going to the NBA, going to take Steph Curry over 26.5 points, minus 120. This line's actually moved to 27.5. So I got this early this morning. Steph has been like fantastic in these playoffs, even though he's taking less shots than you normally see him take. He only needed 14 shots to score 30 in game 3 against the Grizzlies. Now the Grizzlies will have Dylan Brooks back in the lineup, probably their best perimeter defender. So that does throw a little bit of a wrench in the plans for Golden State. But at the same time, it's Steph Curry. You're not betting on, and I love Jordan Poole too, but you're not betting on Jordan Poole. Like Steph Curry is going to take any defender and he will be able to score. So I wouldn't be afraid by simply Brooks being back, especially because 6 of his last 7 games, Steph has had over 27 or more points. The first game that he didn't was when he was really on that minutes restriction in game 1 against the Denver Nuggets in the playoffs. So love Steph over this number. Think the volume will be there. And Warriors can really kind of put the nail in the coffin, especially if Ja Morant doesn't play tonight against the Grizzlies. So I wouldn't be surprised if Steve Kerr makes sure they have this one in hand before he starts pulling anybody out of the game. And then my last one, looking at the same game because I'm going to save all of my Celtics bets for game of the night. Taking Desmond Bane under 25.5 points, rebounds, and assists, minus 110. Desmond Bane was fantastic in the first round against the Wolves, Ian. He averaged 23.5 points per game. Against the Warriors in this series, he's averaging 10, shooting terribly from the field, really just hasn't been able to get going. And I think he's one of the guys who isn't going to benefit from Ja Morant not being in the game. So Desmond Bane, when you watch this Grizzlies team, he plays a lot more off the ball where Ja Morant can set him up for easy looks. Dylan Brooks is going to play more on the ball if Ja Morant doesn't play. So it'll be Tyus Jones, DeAnthony Melton, and Dylan Brooks who really handle the ball tonight. Desmond Bane, they've been putting Klay Thompson on him. They put Andrew Wiggins on him at times, depending upon who's been coming off the bench, Jonathan Kuminga, Otto Porter. They've thrown a couple like bigger defenders on him. Has not looked. The reason I like his under on his PRA is even if Desmond Bane gets going scoring, he's not the biggest stat sheet stuffer. He only averaged 4 rebounds and 2 assists a game during the regular season. Even though he averaged 18 points, he actually averaged less than 25.5 points, rebounds, assists during the regular season. So I don't think this is the game where Desmond Bane just magically comes out and gets 20. He might see a few more shots simply because Morant isn't playing. But at the same time, the Warriors have done a really good job on him defensively. This is a completely different series than Minnesota, so I still think he's kind of overvalued from how well he played against the Wolves in the first round.
Desmond Bane's a great name, though, to be fair. You got to admit that.
Oh, it is a great name. Fantastic.
Desmond Bane? Oh, that's a great name. Top tier name. All right, I like the NBA. I like the NBA plays. Obviously, I like the Brewers and Reds play as well. Not a huge fan of Luis Castillo just because he walks so much. He had a walk rate of 3.6 per 9 innings last year, which I think was amongst the worst in the majors amongst starters. So, yeah, not a huge fan of Luis Castillo, and obviously he's rusty. I mean, he's going to be pitching against batters who've been batting for a month now, and this is his first start. So, yeah, I like that play quite a bit. Let's pivot here and let's talk a little NFL MVP, and then we're going to get into the game of the night. But NFL futures, obviously, and I said this last week, and I forgot how many days were in a year, but it's a 365 day a year sport. So we're always going to talk about a little NFL. And one topic that we haven't talked about yet on the show are MVP odds. So, Peter, why don't we start with you this time? Give me your way too early, super early pick to win NFL MVP in the year 2022.
Yeah, I'm sticking with the guy that I took when we did it right after the Super Bowl. Lamar Jackson plus 1,800 for MVP.
I hate this pick.
I'm not 100% sure if I'm going to bet it yet. I kind of want to see if this number drops a little bit more because I think odds makers aren't high on the Ravens this year. Probably rightfully so after they trade away Hollywood Brown. Their receiver room is questionable. But Lamar Jackson is arguably the most dynamic player in the NFL. And last year, I think if he doesn't get hurt, he probably finishes in the top 3 in the MVP conversation. But obviously got hurt, kind of cost him the second half of the season. But Lamar, the thing I thought we saw he take a step last year, he threw for more yards in 12 games last year than he threw for in 15 games the year before. The rushing yards were still there. I think that's going to be even better with J.K. Dobbins back healthy. They're actually going to have a real threat out of the backfield, makes the read option a little bit more believable rather than just everybody assuming Lamar's going to tuck it instead of handing it off to washed up Le'Veon Bell. So I like him as just a dynamic weapon to stuff the stat sheet. He's going to put up crazy numbers. And if the Ravens win, he's going to have to be in the conversation. Obviously, they're going to need some help at receiver. It's going to be Rashad Bateman and Bateman and Mark Andrews who are really going to kind of carry this team. But I'm not sold, and correct me if you think I'm wrong, Ian. I'm not sold on anyone in the AFC North entering the season. The Steelers have quarterback questions, obviously. The Browns, like maybe Deshaun Watson plays, maybe he doesn't. I don't know. I'm not going to sit here and stake any claim on the Browns being good. And then the Bengals, I feel like they're just due for some regression. I know I was all over the Bengals in the playoffs, and I love them, but they are also going to not go from facing a last place schedule to a first place schedule. It's a big difference. They're going to have some tougher games. And this Ravens team, they were the most injured team in the NFL last year. So if they can stay a little bit healthier this year, I think Lamar just naturally is just the most dynamic player on the field in almost every game he plays in. So I don't mind him for MVP. He's pretty far down the odds board right now at WinBet. So don't hate him for this award.
I do hate him for this award. How about that? You and Donovan can team up, team Lamar Jackson. Listen, I lived through the Mike Vick era in Atlanta. I know how these quarterbacks go. They don't regress and then start to get better again. They just continue to regress. I guess Cam Newton's not really that good of a comparison to these guys. But last year, 16 touchdowns, 13 interceptions. I just looked this up while you were praising Lamar Jackson. So only 3 more touchdowns and interceptions. A QBR of 50.7. Not good. Interception percentage of 3.4. Yeah, not good.
Questionable weapons around him.
Those are some turnovers. It's hard to win MVP turning the ball over.
Lost his left tackle, lost his starting running back.
I will give you that. That is a good point.
The first 6 games. Like
the Ravens were unbelievably banged up.
Yeah, it was just him last year. It's almost more of a Ravens have to be healthier. Like it's just there's no way they can have more injuries than they had last year. And I just think that naturally helps elevate Lamar. And I think if he had a healthy team last year, he looks a lot better. Like Ronnie Stanley's one of the best left tackles in football, and he didn't have him. So I think there's a reason to buy low on Lamar, but he's obviously not the favorite for a reason.
All right, fair enough. I'll give out a pick who is a guy who's even further down the odds list, and it's just downright disrespectful. Do you know who I'm going to say?
I know. I knew the second we said we were doing this segment who you were going to pick.
Matty Ice, the most underrated, disrespected player in NFL history, 30-1. He finally gets to play on a good team. The first time he's played in a good team since he's won the MVP, since he went to the Super Bowl. Not only that, a good offensive line as well. He was running for his life all year last year, one of the worst, if not the single worst offensive line in all of football, especially the interior. So he wasn't getting pressure around the outside. He was getting pressure coming at him right up the middle. What he was able to do on that Falcons team last year with no weapons, Calvin Ridley hardly played all year, no offensive line, is beyond impressive. But people think he's washed up, thinks that he's old. Aaron Rodgers just won back-to-back MVPs, and he's like 3 years older than Matt Ryan. So he is the most underrated player in NFL history. Myself and Donovan have made this argument before in the past. anyone who's not a Falcons fan thinks that Matt Ryan isn't as good as what he is because they don't watch Falcons games because they're not a media darling. They barely get any primetime games in a year. Nobody pays attention to, even when the Falcons were good, nobody really paid attention to them and watched their games. As a Falcons fan, I've watched this guy play his entire career. He is one of the better quarterbacks of our generation. And now, like I said, he finally, I think even when they went on the Super Bowl and he won MVP, he did not have a good offensive line. This is like the best offensive line he has ever played behind. So I think Matt Ryan at 30-1 in a weak division that he can pick apart, man, give me Matt Ryan 30-1. I'm a Colts fan this year because the Falcons are going to stink. They might win 2 games. So go Colts. Go Matt Ryan 30-1. Most underrated player in NFL history.
I don't hate it because I think they're going to win that division pretty easily. If you look at the competition in there, I think Matt Ryan, obviously huge upgrade over Carson Wentz. I think they have a good shot there. The only thing that scares me is the receiving weapons. Like, I know you said he had no weapons. He did have Kyle Pitts last year, but like the Colts are not, rich with receiving weapons either. Is he going to be throwing a Michael Pittman and Ashton Doolin and
big Paris Campbell here? This is Paris Campbell.
Yeah, Paris Campbell. So I wouldn't mind.
They just drafted a guy. What's the name of the guy they just drafted?
Who they take?
Alec Pierce?
Might have been. Who knows? Who knows? But he is on a better team, so I will give you that. Jonathan Taylor should help him. I just wonder if Jonathan Taylor is the better MVP candidate than Matt Ryan if they stay run heavy.
Alec Pierce from Cincinnati was Desmond Ritter's main option this year. So, hell yeah. Let's go Colts. Let's go Matt Ryan.
Yeah. Don't hate it. I don't hate it.
All right.
I knew you were taking Matt Ryan, so I was just like, I'm not taking no Matty Ice hate from me today.
All right, let's get into the game of the night. Bucks Celtics. It is game 4 tonight. The Bucks are up 2-1.
Yes, sir. Bucks
are up 2-1. So whenever we do game of the night and I'm on the show and it's NBA, I lean on the other guy. So break down this game for me. Break down this series. Tell me everything I need to know.
Yeah, so as Cody mentioned in his Twitter best bet, he's taking the under. Every game in the Bucks playoffs has hit the under so far. They're 8-0. Kind of a wild stat for a team that has Giannis Antetokounmpo, but the Bucks are playing really good defense. They've kind of reinvented themselves a little bit without Chris Middleton. Jrue Holiday has been taking a ton of shots. He took 30 shots in game 3. So if you're looking for somebody to take a prop bet on off of strictly volume, which is a lot of kind of what I look for when I'm handicapping some of these props. I didn't take any Jrue Holiday action yet. I'm debating if I want to or not, just because I feel like he's due for a little bit of volume regression, but he's a guy who's going to see a lot of shots. Obviously, Giannis is going to see a lot of shots, but his numbers are through the roof. I believe his points, rebounds, assists is at like 51.5 today. As great as Giannis is, that's a high number to take, but I also took his under in game 3, and then he scored 42 points. So you never know. This has been a weird series, though, because it's been a superstar kind of playing poorly in almost every game. Game 2, Giannis did not have a good game for the Bucks. Game 3, Jason Tatum played terrible for the Celtics, shot 4 for 19. Wesley Matthews just had him in hell. He could not do anything against Wesley Matthews, 0 for 10 when guarded by Wesley Matthews. So this is going to come down to the role players stepping up for one of these two sides, because what we've seen is these teams have made it a point of like, we're not going to let the stars beat us. And obviously Giannis had a huge game in game 3 that the Celtics couldn't stop him. But you look at the Bucks role guys, nobody did anything. That's why it was a 2-point game. That's why Boston was able to erase a 14-point deficit in the fourth quarter. So I think we're in for another good game. If we want to get into a little bit of best bets, I will tell you, I'll give one of them. I took the Celtics to win this game. I took them on the money line. They were minus 105. I just think they're destined. This is destined to go 7 games. These teams are too evenly matched. And I just think Boston, when you look at what happened for them in game 2 and game 3, they played one good half in this entire series. It was the first half of game 2. And since then, they just have not been the same team. So I think they turn things around a little bit in this game. They're due for some positive shooting regression. So that's my best bet in terms of on the game for this one.
Was that a fire alarm going off in the background? What was that? Or a smoke detector?
I think a smoke detector is going off in either one of the apartments by me or in my apartment. So might have to check that out. But
is that a bad omen, do you think, for your bet? Because that started happening right as you were breaking down your bet.
I hope not. I just do think that Boston, I just really think Boston, like, they can't shoot any worse. So if they shoot any better, I think they got a shot to win this one.
Question for you, because I'm not going to let you off the hook for this take they had a couple weeks ago, because I don't think it's been brought up since. We had a video with myself and you and Donovan, and you were worried about the Suns because they lost Devin Booker in the first series, and you were worried about the Bucks because they lost Chris Middleton. To be fair, the Chris Middleton thing was more later on in the playoffs as opposed to that series, but the Suns ended up handling the Pelicans. So, do you apologize for that take? Are you gonna come back on that take, or?
I mean, Devin Booker did return for Game 6 against the Pelicans, so that helped.
Okay, I didn't know that, to be fair.
So that did help. I will say the one thing I'm a little worried about from the Bucks' perspective without Middleton is just they haven't been able to, like, consistently find offense outside of Giannis. I know they're up 2-1, but, like, it's been kind of ugly to get up to 2-1. So we'll see. We'll see if they can actually pull this whole series out without him.
Go check your smoke alarm out. Make sure your building is not on fire. I'll filibuster for a minute.
I'll be right back.
Putting me in a tough spot because you're asking me to filibuster about the NBA, which I know nothing about. But hey, my podcast, I rant for an hour long without hardly taking a breath. So let's see what I can do here. I'll give out my best bet for the game. Me being not an NBA bettor normally, I kept it pretty simple. Brook Lopez over 5.5 rebounds, which is available at -130 at WinBet. Like I said, keep it pretty simple. Celtics very good defensively, about an average rebounding team. I think they rank like 10th or 11th in rebounding percentage. And Brook Lopez in this series has rebound in the 3 games. He has 10 rebounds, 6 rebounds, and 10 rebounds. Peter, is your building on fire?
It might be. The fire alarm is going off in the hallway, not my apartment, so I may need to get out.
All right. Well, we're wrapping up anyways. Really quickly, you don't even have to break it down. What's your other pick for the game?
Yeah, I'm taking Bobby Portis over 11.5 points. He had done it in 5 straight before scoring 9 in Game 3, so I think he gets back on track in Game 4.
All right, go. Oh, before your building burns down, I'll wrap up. All right, see ya. Now it's a single camera right on me. We have not had this before, but I hope Peter's building does not burn down. I don't like how the camera is a little bit more zoomed in on me. I didn't shave today, but that's all right. The show's basically over, my friends. The only thing we have is the poll, and the final results are the community is on Bucks -1. Peter's already on the Celtics. So I'm not going to make him bet on it because then he'd be just a loser no matter who wins. So I will back the Bucks -1. So I got Brook Lopez over 5.5 rebounds. I'm adding on Bucks -1. This is the community bet of the day. And that's pretty much it. We're going to get out of here a few minutes early, but I guess that kind of happens when your apartment building might be burning down. So shout out for that. Hey, at least it didn't happen early in the show. Then you would have had to listen to me nonstop for an hour straight. But coming up, you're going to see my face a little bit more today because Green on the Greens. Myself and Cody Williams going live at the top of the hour at 6 p.m. Eastern, giving out our best bets for the AT&T Byron Nelson. And then tomorrow night, of course, Jab Cross Hook, our UFC show. Not to brag, I went 5-0 in UFC 274, though. Won the draft again. Might have set the record for the most units won on the draft. We'll look into that. Who knows? Once again, not to brag. But yes, first of all, check out 6 p.m. Eastern. 22 minutes time, I'll be back on this YouTube channel if you're on it, but I guess it's going to be a different stream breaking down the AT&T Brian Nelson. All right, I have filibustered as much as I possibly can. I hope Peter's all right. If you're watching this on YouTube, like, subscribe, all that good stuff. Best of luck with your bets tonight, and we will talk to you again sometime soon. Tomorrow it's going to be Ben and Reed on the Daily Betslip, so be sure to tune into that and listen to them break down the best bets of the night. All right, good luck, everyone, and good luck to Peter. I hope your building doesn't burn down. Bye.